Eller? Vad ska vi gå in nu?
Vad heter det va? Titta in på va?
Vad ska vi gå in?
Raketerna.
Det är NASA. Kolla på lite rymdraketer. Ja, nu är vi inne till det. Vi har sett några raketer va?
Va?
Sett lite raketer. Så var man tvungen att gå igenom säkerhetskontroll precis som flygplatsen. Eller hur? Har du tagit bort pistolen i väskan eller?
Va?
Får du
jag
pistolen?
har ingen pistol.
Du har ingen pistol?
Nej.
Ska vi samla oss lite för att se vart vi ska gå? Om ni får ställa där så kan jag hoppa raketerna.
Vet du varför en svensk flagga där?
Nej.
Vi har en kille som heter Christer som är från Sverige. Han har varit ute i rymden.
Christer Fuglesang.
Så alla som har varit i rymden har nog sin flagga där, alla länder. Så vi har haft en svensk ute i rymden.
This is all about the astronaut Jerry Carr. It's a 40-minute presentation.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Also very enjoyable. And I think by about 3 o'clock this afternoon, you'll suddenly spring to the idea that, gee, there's not enough time to see everything. So probably going to have to come back, and you'll certainly be welcome, that's for sure. Now, what I'd like to do today is talk to you a little bit about the Skylab program that I flew in. Wow, that was 45 years ago.
Toa.
Nu ska vi åka på en rundtur med skrikande buss och kolla på uppskjutningsplatserna och lite sånt. Se vad de bygger raketer.
Hur spännande det?
Ja. Förberedelsefullt där. Ner med glasögon, upp med telefon.
Well, hello everyone. My name is David and I'll be your tour escort out to the Saturn V Center today.
Along the way, we're going to go around Launch Complex 39. Or at least we're going to go past it. And we're heading out to the Saturn V Center. That is a different location than this one, of course. That is where we have the world's largest rocket, the Saturn V rocket. Now, once you finish seeing everything that you'd like to see at the Saturn V Center, you will most likely be getting on a different bus coming back to this location. Now, all our buses over there come back to this location. The buses leave about every 5 minutes or so. And it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to get back here, depending on the driver. Now, not only are you at Kennedy Space Center, you're also on Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge. How that works out is that Kennedy Space Center is actually located on Merritt Island, not Cape Canaveral. Now, we are kind of connected, but Merritt Island happens to be the largest island in Florida. A little over 75 miles long, about 5 miles wide, and Kennedy Space Center occupies about half of the island. Now that means we have somewhere around 140,000 acres out here. But out of all that land though, we probably only use about 7,000 acres for the space program itself. The rest of the land is designated as a blast zone. In case we need a blast zone, pretty good reason out here. At the Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge, they are the beneficiaries of that land that we use for that blast zone. Now what this means for you folks is that you're going to see lots of wilderness out there. Kind of need that to act as a buffer zone to keep everybody safe during times of launch. Now, of course, with all that land, of course, we have quite a bit of wildlife out here as well. Just to give you an example of some of that wildlife, in the surrounding waters around Kennedy Space Center, we have the world's largest manatee population. And we have close to 2,000 manatees that live in the Indian River Lagoon system around the island here. Of course, we also have the usual animals that you'd expect to see in the wilderness, such as deer, wild turkeys, wild pigs. Of course, we have the usual rabbits, squirrels, raccoons, that sort of thing. We also have armadillos, otters, bobcats, foxes, black bear, and Florida panther. Of course, we also have one other animal you're probably expecting to see here in Florida, alligators. We have somewhere around 6,000 alligators here at Kennedy Space Center. I'd say we have a little extra security. Now in just a few minutes we're going to go into a restricted area. That's why I have these credentials here to help you folks get in. And you're welcome to take pictures of everything you can see out there, except for one. There's always got to be one, right? As we go into that restricted area, we're going to be going through a main security gate. And the security guards there would like you not to take their picture. I think they're kind of shy. Other than that, like I said, you're welcome to take pictures of everything else you can see out there without any problem. I'm going to go ahead and buckle up now and then we'll get going. So up ahead here we have this really big building, the Vehicle Assembly Building, and this is one of the largest buildings in the world. I know it's hard to tell that because we really don't have anything around it really to scale it against, like a city or anything. Like you can see, there's an American flag up there on the side of that building. That American flag up there is 21 stories tall.
Wow.
Each one of the stars on that flag are 6 feet from point to point. And the stripes on that flag, they are so wide that if I could drive this bus up and down, I could easily drive this bus up and down any one of those stripes. Now, if you've ever been to a basketball game, the blue section alone is the size of an NBA basketball court. Now, this is the building that we use to put together the Apollo rockets, the space shuttles, and now our new space launch system before we take them out to the launch pad. Now I'd like to draw your attention to the gray stripes on the side of the Vehicle Assembly Building facing the road that we're driving on. Those are the tallest doors in the world. 456 feet tall. It takes 45 minutes to open the door.
Yes.
And just to give you an idea how big those doors are, we can easily slide the Statue of Liberty on her base through one of those doors. I'm going to go see a Saturn V rocket here shortly. When the Saturn V rocket was coming out of one of those doors, going out to the launch pad, it only had 6 feet to clear the top of those doors. Our new space launch system is going to be even bigger than that. Now, this building is so big, we could put the old Yankee Stadium on the roof of this building. Still have an acre left over for parking.
Launch control for the Apollo mission. This is not a mock-up. These are the very consoles we sat at when men first took off to fly to the moon. The tragedy of Apollo 1 had put us a year and a half behind. We were making up for it in one big leap, and we were doing it with a rocket that no man had ever flown before. It was a few days before Christmas 1968 when Apollo 8 sat on the pad. She was the first of a new kind, a moon rocket. This was the Phoenix, risen from the ashes of Apollo 1. The first Apollo crew did not die in vain. This was to be their testament. "36 stories high, she had been fully fueled throughout the night. The liquid oxygen in her tanks caused ice to form on the outside of the craft. The extreme temperature differences between the air and the sub-zero fuel caused the metal skin of the rocket to expand and contract. Everyone who was on the pad agreed. It was as though the rocket was alive, breathing, straining at the leash. Earlier in the morning, astronauts Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders had made their final preparations before taking that long ride out to the waiting spacecraft. The minimum safe distance from a Saturn V at liftoff was 3 miles. The reason was simple. When fully fueled, the rocket contained the explosive power of an atomic bomb. As the clock counted down, the astronauts and all of us in launch control went through the pre-flight checks. Our hands on the controls of the most powerful, most complex machine ever built. It had over 2 million separate systems, and to bring these men back alive, everything had to work perfectly. Each individual system had been tested, but what we didn't know was how they would perform when all 2 million began to work together. That moment would come when the countdown clock reached 0. If a maneuvering thruster failed, if communications broke down, if navigation was off by 1 degree, if any piece of the miles of wiring, circuits, relays, or valves was defective, Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders would pay with their lives. As they sat, waiting for launch on that chill December morning, these 3 astronauts were back to what they had always been, test pilots. You are now in the final minutes before the launch of Apollo 8, right here where it actually happened. Mankind is about to leave his planet behind and journey to another. It is one of those rare moments when history is not being made, destiny is being embraced.
This is launch control. T-minus 3 minutes and counting. We've completed our communications checks with the Apollo 8 astronauts in the cabin, and the communications are go. During this period, once we do get the firing command, the various tanks within the 3 stages of the Saturn V launch vehicle begin to pressurize. We have firing command. The firing command is in. We're now on the automatic sequence. T-minus 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Our status board indicates that all aspects are ready. Instrument node is ready, spacecraft ready. Final check of the emergency detection system. That ready light also on. First stage preparations are completed.
All systems are ready, okay.
Video okay, keep going. We're on. Ready to go to Cronkite. Stand by water. Okay, you're on.
All systems go.
T-minus 45 seconds and counting. The first stage liquid oxygen tank has been pressurized, and the pressure is still building on. Coming up in 90 seconds, mark T-minus 90 seconds and coming. The Apollo 8 crew standing by, spacecraft commander Frank Borman, chin level, pill handles. We now report that the liquid hydrogen tank in the third stage is pressurized. 1 minute and 15 seconds. All third stage propellants pressurized at this time as we come up on a 60-second mark on the flight down. T-minus 60 seconds and counting. The vehicle now is completely pressurized. We're coming up on the power transfer shortly. We have the power transfer. We're now on the flight batteries within the launch vehicle. Final reports now from Frank Borman at this time. Final look at the switch list aboard to the spacecraft. 20 seconds, all aspects. We are still low at this time. 10, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Ignition sequence start. Engines are on. 4.
Apollo 8 successfully orbited the moon, and the astronauts returned safely to the Earth. I know. I'm Jim Lovell, and I was one of the crew of this spacecraft, Apollo 8. We were the first men to see the surface of the moon from just a few miles away. But it was the hundreds of thousands of men and women who who worked in that team and the millions of people who supported the mission that really made it possible. That way, I guess, we all went to the moon. Now, on the other side of those doors, you'll find an actual Saturn V moon rocket. It's still the most powerful, the most complex machine ever built. And I guess it's the only one that can take you to another planet. I actually got to fly one on a second flight to the moon called Apollo 13. But that's another story.
Vad gör du till det?
Jag skickar snack
Till?
Jag vet inte.
Du vet inte?
Några. Jag ska skicka det till några.
Har det kul här inne? Till det? Vad ska vi göra nu?
Jag tror att jag kryper in i mörkret. Jag vet inte. Mamma sa det.
Krypa in igen?
Ja.
Det låter spännande.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I need everyone to continue moving forward past the black and yellow caution map so our automatic doors will close for an again, welcome to Atlanta.
Lá, Fernanda.
Eu sou um alienígena.
Men pappa, jag vill också testa.
Står du pappa? Titta. Ställ dig här.
Vi ska lyfta.
Ska vi flyga till månen?
Control things.
Ja, men du vet, det är som att... Det känns som att du startar en raket. Titta pappa. Ja, jag vet. Titta.
Hej, hej. Nu går jag igenom det här igen. Det är några vatten. Så att...
Går du upp och låda?
Nej. Hur de äter. Nu går det ut för det. Nej.
Vad gör man här inne?
Kolla, de sover. Här.
Just det.
Där är en dator och de har satt fast den. De har satt fast de här grejerna. Och
Du sitter och sover i den här sovsäcken där?
Ja, de sover i en sovsäck. Och så har de den där i huvudet. De måste ju knäppa den så. För annars trillar de ur.
Helt rätt.
There are often surprises. This is from a NASA mission called WMAP. If the whole universe were a person, this would be its first baby picture. There are no stars here, no galaxies, certainly no planets. But there is energy. The rest came soon enough, once the new kid could collect herself. swift sounding. These puzzled blasts have long puzzled scientists. They may be stars collapsing in upon themselves, or two densely packed remnants of stars merging together. But in either case, scientists believe they herald the births of black holes. They're the most powerful explosions in the universe after the Big Bang, and they seem to happen all the time, as often as once a day.
Hur har dagen varit?
Bra.
Var det bra? Vilket var mest spännande?
Ja. Vilket var mest spännande för den?
Vet inte, nej.
Mycket.
Men det var väldigt mycket att se och göra. Vi har inte hunnit titta på riktigt allt heller. Fast det har varit en hel dag och klockan är nu 7:30 på kvällen.
Jag har inte hunnit titta på det. Jag håller
Hej, tack för idag. Nu har vi haft...
Kan du ta kort med här?
Ja. Du kan säga hela förslagen.
Ja.
Maxad dag på Kennedy Space Center. Superintressant. Men det räcker knappt med en dag. Vad blir med?
Inte.
Ja.
Nu ska vi åka till hotellet och sova.
Och så tar vi nya tag imorgon. Vi gör äventyr och spännande saker.
Hej då!